Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Don't be shocked please, yes, this is a video. It is on Stone Cold Coffee Crafts. This is Stone Cold Coffee Crafts. I know, unbelievable. Hi, if you're new here, my name is Heike. I usually have a little furry assistant, my ragdoll cat Lola, but she is having a nap, so I don't know if she will join us here in a moment or not. She's a bit so lately. Sometimes very interested, sometimes not at all. Currently she's leaning towards not at all. I'm sorry. Yeah, and this is, believe it or not, a Flosstube video. I haven't had one of those since July, I believe. I really tried to film one before my vacation in August, but for whatever reason it just would not come together. I tried multiple times. Wasn't supposed to be, I guess. And since after my vacation, I have actually finally taken the step to get to my doctor and have some meds prescribed to help with my sleeping issues, with my depression issues and stuff, but the pills have been a little too effective. So today is a really good day. I'm very clear, I'm very awake. It's the first time since I started taking them, to be honest. I'm sleeping so much. It's unbelievable. And probably not healthy, but yeah. I'll have to wait and see once my doctor is back from her vacation at the beginning of October. She was a bit reluctant to change my medication out now, so we agreed I would take it until all the pills are gone, which is like, I think 8-9 more days, something like that. And then I either can call them and have the same stuff prescribed again, or wait for her to come back and try something new. I am undecided as of now. Full disclosure. So if I don't think it is going to happen today, but if I seem different, that is why. I've been told by people I've talked on the phone with that I sometimes sound very not there, very drugged out, but I think today is not the case, because I feel normal today, which was quite shocking to wake up to. But anyway, I thought I would seize the day, sit down and film a Flosstube. I am, of course, super late for my usual Flosstube dates of the 15th and the 29th, but again, I was just not coherent, at least in my books, so that's the reason why. That's also going to be my excuse if nothing comes forward in the next couple of weeks, because, yeah, nothing much I can do. Anyway, Flosstube. And let me tell you, I don't know how many times I've tried to film this. We have a finish. We've had a finish since the beginning of August, because Her Majesty is done. She is done. And I'm so happy about how she turned out and how she looks, and I think this is to this date my absolute favorite thing I have worked on and finished. Yeah, she was a lot of work. She was for sure a labor of love piece, but I'm going to show you what she looks like in her full glory, because that was a lot of stitching. I've shown her on Instagram and I've talked about her on Instagram, so if you follow me there, I'm not telling you anything new, but this last part was all the back stitching down here in her tentacles, on the trident, up here in her hair, around her arms, all that stuff. So yeah, that was a lot of back stitching. I'm surprised that I stitched it as fast as I did, but I'm super happy with it. And also there was quite a bit of beading, not as much as I anticipated, to be honest. There are a lot of blue beads up here around the magic and down here, and then there are a few pink beads here around the corals. There were supposed to be more up here, but because I didn't stitch her coral crown, they didn't make any sense, so I didn't put them in. What I did instead is I smoothed out her hairline Last time you saw her, she still had the little indents where the coral horns were supposed to connect with her head. I decided against doing anything as far as the ground goes, so I just smoothed out the hairline, and now it looks like it's supposed to be like this. The one thing that annoys me a little bit is this little drop here, because it just does not really lay down, because it's very three-dimensional. It's not flat on one side, so it looks a bit strange in my opinion. But it's actually very shiny, so yeah, I think my camera is completely wonky because my fabric is now not straight on the table, but very straight on screen. Fabulous. So I did a lot of oopsies in the backstitching. I had no issues with the chart up until the backstitching part, because all the time I could work with the colored PDF part, which is what I prefer working with, because it's so much easier on my eyes, and I don't print my PDF patterns. I do not have Pattern Keeper because I only have a very old Android tablet, and now that my birthday is over and I have my iPad, I am actually thinking about resetting the tablet back to factory settings, and hopefully that will make it a little less glitchy, even though it is very old. And maybe Pattern Keeper can be the one and only app running on it, but I have to test that. But right now when I'm stitching from PDF, I'm preferring to stitch color charts, because I do not need to print them. I can just follow them on the screen without losing my spot. And that's what I did with her for all 11 parts that came before this last one. But this last one was the back stitching, and that was just such a pain in the ass. I'm sorry. It was such a pain, especially all the backstitching down here, because the way it was charted, all the backstitching was charted on the black and white chart as black. So usually what I'm used to is that for the backstitching they use different colors for the different colors of thread, and also for the different amounts of times you need to stitch a certain line, because you do not always stitch with one thread or two threads. For example, here in the hair you can see that it's much thinner up here and then gets thicker here. That's because this is one thread and this is two threads, or that's how I prefer to do it, stitched once and stitched twice. And that's what threw me off so many times. I stitched all of the hair back stitch down here with black, and then I noticed that I had to stitch these two lines here with the rainbow treasure braid instead. So instead of pulling the thread out, I think you can still see it a little bit here, I just stitched the rainbow treasure braid over. I don't mind. I think if you don't know that it's there, you're probably not going to see it. For sure not here in this part, but maybe here if you look very, very close, but who cares? And then I stitched the bangles with the wrong color. It was the last thing I stitched late at night, and then I decided, okay, I need to take a break. Let's resume doing this tomorrow. And instead of pulling the wrong color out, I just stitched over it with the gold. And I'm actually happy I did that, because that reinforced the bangles a little bit, made them a little bit thicker. And I think they stand out a little more now, which I think is totally fine. Most hated beads on this thing to attach were actually the freshwater pearls, because for all of the other beads I could just use my 28 size stitching needle. All these beads are Miyuki brand, so they are very uniform, they are very high quality. You can just use a regular 28 needle for them. But the freshwater pearls had very small holes, so I used a big eye beading needle for that one, or for these ones, and these suckers are sharp on both ends. And it's just 7 beads, but I can't tell you how many times I stabbed myself in the finger with these freaking sharp ends on both sides. So yeah, I was glad when that was over. The one part that I had the most thinking to do about was the big back stitching on her tentacles down here, because the way this was charted was actually to use the same treasure braid that's up here in the magic, the light blue, and it gives amazing contrast to the colors used in her body. But what it also did, it drove my eyes crazy. So basically my eyes behaved like a webcam that is unable to focus. My eyes were jumping from point to point to point, and it was really making me feel a slight vertigo, really, and it was also giving me a headache. So at first I thought, dang, I can't stitch this backstitch at all because it's going to drive me nuts. I'll never be able to look at my own piece. But I also liked the idea of these shiny lines appearing on her body when she uses her magic and telling the stories of everything she has experienced in her life so far. So I really wanted to have this. So I did a bit of stash diving. And do I still have that here? I'm sorry if I'm sniffing a little bit, but I have a bit of a runny nose today. Yes, I still have it here. So I stash dived because sometimes in, I think it was 2019, I won one of Michelle Bendy Stitchy's auctions. I think it was one for Muscular Dystrophy, Canada. And she auctioned off a giant box of Cunning stuff and Mill Hill beads. And a lot of that Cunning I got was actually not the number 4, which is used on a lot of mirabilias, but it is the blending filament, which is much, much thinner. You can see this is a very, very thin thread. And I checked my stash and pulled out 2 colors. One is this regular purple, which is kind of close to the purple in her body, and the other one is this lavender color. It's a very light lavender, for a little contrast. And I thought, let's blend these 2 together, and I stitched all the backstitch with blending filament. It went very well because the blending filament is thinner and it is also softer than the regular Cunning or even the rainbow treasure braid. I find it easier to stitch with a treasure braid over Cunning. So Cunning would be the worst, followed by treasure braid and the number 4 Cunning, I should say, and then probably comes this filament. And it went very well. If you want to stitch with this, I would say go for it. Just a tip from me, go with a short length. I know it's annoying to start and end all the time, but these blending filaments, they will fray and they make your life really hard if you use too long of a strand. I'm usually someone who goes, wah, all in. Make the strands as long as they can be because I don't want to change threads all the time, not with this stuff. I would go with, what is this, like a 10-inch length? I would not go longer than this. And yeah. I really liked how this looks because depending on the light, right now it is standing out quite a bit. Depending on the light, it nearly vanishes and then it basically flicks on if the light changes a little bit, and it gives you a bit of a bling. It reminds me very much of the effect that the electric diamonds on diamond shop paintings behave, because they switch on and off as well depending how the light hits the painting. So that's what this came out like, and I am absolutely in love with her. I mean, she is an absolute beauty. I have a frame for her, I just have not framed her yet. I have her and the frame in my living room standing up against my walls there so that it will stare me in the face and remind me I have to do this, but so far I still could ignore it. But I will try and have this done maybe for the next Flosstube. I don't know. We shall see, but I am so happy about her. I'm glad she's done, but also sad she's done. I already noticed it this month when no unbelievable big part came out on the 1st of the month. So yeah. I took on another challenge that keeps me occupied, so it's probably a good thing, and I don't really miss it, but if you stitched on something for a whole year, it's kind of strange when it's just done. So there's that. Autumn Lane Stitchery has hinted that there might be another stitch along in the future, but I don't think anytime too soon, as far as I understood. But yeah, awesome. I can only recommend this pattern if you have been thinking about stitching her and just weren't sure. I would say go ahead. It is not too hard. Most of the chart is actually full cross stitch, and only her face and around her arms here it gets a little bit more complicated with partial stitching. So it is a big one, but it is beginner friendly. So the one thing, I have talked about this before, that you don't see on my piece is part number, I think it was 7. The corners up here, her horns, her crown, and subsequently I also changed how my bottom looked like a little bit, because there were corners up there which I didn't like, and those corners were supposed to be an imaginary frame, as in the corals down here, about here, just stopped and were cut off to have this hard line of a frame. Same on this side here. And the seaweed, the kelp, was supposed to move out of the frame. So what I did is I opened up this frame. I showed it in the July Flosstube, I think, because I had already mostly done it. I just went back in and changed one little piece, which is this down here. I just added this. I cut it off like this, and it kind of looked strange to me, so I added in this little nose of a coral. It felt a little more organic to me, and I did this very much freestyle, so I did not chart it out in any way. I just went in and made a few stitches, looked at it, how it looked to me, and then decided whether I was happy with that, or I went back in and added a stitch here and there. So on the back, these parts here are not as neat as the rest, but yeah, that's what freestyle is basically. So yeah, that's her. I guess she will be back one more time when she's framed, and then say goodbye to the Dark Queen of the Sea by Autumn Lane Stitchery. Stitched her mostly with the called for floss, except for the blending filament that I've been talking about. That's the only thing I swapped. No, not quite the only thing I swapped out. I also swapped out the 310 up here for Etoile 310. That's the only 2 changes I made, and it is stitched on 28 count linen in the colorway Bewitched by Under the Sea Fabrics, which is the fabric that was specifically dyed for this stitch along. Should still be available, so if you still want to stitch this, check out Under the Sea Fabrics. She has it in Aida, linen, and even weave, whatever you prefer. You can get it in multiple stitch sizes, count sizes, and you can purchase it in pack with, I think, the specialty floss. I'm not sure about that, but for sure the fabric and the beads, because that is what I purchased back in the day. Words. I don't know if the fabric is now available on its own, because it wasn't when I purchased it in, I think it was July of 2020. I don't think it was June, it was July. Right before the stitch along started in August anyway. So yeah, 20 minutes just for her. Jeez. Not that I had planned heaps and heaps of stuff. So let's have a look at my running stitch along first, and you will be kind of surprised because you will notice something. Starting with the Planet B. There is no Planet B. I should have readjusted the frame. Okay, we will make it work this way. So for August. I was, as always, right on plan with the dolphin and the seal. They are, as always, so cute. There is this little back fin, tail fin, fin tail, whatever. That was August. And then for September, it was the Piggum Sloth. And here is the tiger supposed to go. I started on the 1st of September and stitched the sloth. And I had planned to stitch the tiger on the 2nd, but something came in the way. So I'm going to talk about this after I've showed you all the other stitch alongs and where they are right now, because none of them are caught up any longer. But I am going to play catch up with my stitch alongs after I have done something else. Yeah, so there's where this is right now. I'm 1 animal behind, and yeah, I will have to play catch up hopefully in October. So I will have to catch up 1 animal and then a stitch and the 1 drop that will be in October. This is stitched with all the called for floss. I have not exchanged anything on this piece yet. On a piece of 28 count brown paper, brown sand. I always forget which one. It is an xJuDesign. It is an xJuDesign. Let me check. I actually have a template for my Instagram posts where I keep the stats in. Brown paper is the name of this linen. So it's a very uniform colored, basic tan beige color. It is absolutely pretty for pretty much anything, I would say. So this is that one. And then we have the Our Forest Alice in Wonderland. And this one is absolutely behind. So that is straight on the screen. Okay. So I am 2 parts behind on this one. The last thing I stitched was the caterpillar, and I think you have not seen the bushes yet either. Yeah, I think the last thing you've seen was the house with the little lizard and stuff. So the next drop were the four flower bushy things. This one here drove me completely nuts. I stitched it, made a mistake in this branch here, had to frog that, made another mistake in the same branch, different mistake, same branch, had to frog it again, stitched it back in, was so glad it finally was done. And when this part dropped, I realized that this part here was completely off. I had miscounted from the top border here. So I had first to frog all of this out again, restitch it, and then finally I could get back to the big mushroom and the caterpillar. I switched out the white or the ecru, whatever you want to say it, floss up here in the mushroom for the gold. I started using the ecru, but it didn't have a lot of contrast for me. I've seen a lot of pictures where it looks really good. I wonder why it didn't look good on my piece. But then I thought, well, okay, it is time to replace something with the gold anyway to keep this all in balance, because you might remember that here and up on the upper left side of the piece I have switched out a few things for the gold, so that was actually a good thing. So the next part that dropped and I didn't stitch was the bottom border all the way over here, and then the last thing that dropped was a little frog and another lizard fencing with each other, and some character. I don't know, it didn't look like the Queen of Hearts to me, but it was some kind of woman character. Honestly, I haven't even looked at it, because when that dropped, I had already fully formed my plan on what to do, and I just downloaded the pattern and was done with it. So I've not looked too much into it. Friday the next part drops, so by the time I get back to this piece, I have a lot to catch up on. But it shouldn't be a problem. Usually I love stitching on our forest and enjoy it very much. This little caterpillar, I don't know about you, but I find him so cute. He is amazing. He is so amazing. So this is stitched with the called for floss. Oh, this is very wonky. With the called for floss, this pattern comes in 2 variations. You can either get a 3-color version, or you can get the full color version. I've got the full color version, obviously, and I also got the floss pack from Owl Forest with their hand-dyed floss. You can also use DMC. There's a DMC conversion on the chart. The chart is free, so check out their homepage. They do at least 1 stitch along per year now, I believe, and they are super gracious. The stitch along charts are always for free, so that's very amazing. They also stay free, so check it out. Check out the other stitch alongs they had. You can find them in their pattern part or chart part of the homepage, and the free charts. That's where this is located. So stitch with the called for floss. Only change I made, I mentioned that I pulled in this Rainbow Treasure Braid Gold, and I'm replacing some elements on the piece and stitch it in gold instead of the called for floss, but that's the only change I have made. This is stitched on 32 count vintage country mocha. I chose linen, but this is a standard fabric you can purchase from Zweigart, and it comes in linen, Aida, and of course also even weave. So whatever you want, you can get in this fabric. It is an extremely versatile fabric. I think this is my 2nd piece I stitch on it, but it is used in so many pieces, and it never disappoints. So this is a good alternative if you cannot get your hands on the fancy hand-dyed fabric, because you are like me, for example, in Europe, and you have to have it shipped from the US. That is currently something that makes life really hard, because all the dyers are, I think, very much behind on supplying shops, and is also now expensive with the new rules on tax and stuff. So not as fun as it used to be, I'm afraid. Yeah, so again, behind on that one, falling further behind. And last but not least, because I think you saw the Cozy Cafe in my last July Flosstube, and I've not stitched the August part yet, so nothing to show there, is the Animal Crossing by Stuart Cunningham. Cunning cross stitch. And the August critter was Estelle, the owl. I think they are siblings, Blathers and Estelle, if I remember correctly. She is the little owl that will come to your island when you have shooting stars. So you can have multiple days per week with shooting stars, but on the day with the most shooting stars, she will be on your island, and she will give you either a DIY if you haven't received all of the DIYs from her yet, or she will give you star fragments, and she will tell you little stories about the star sign of the month and so on. And she was the critter for August, which was awesome because I love Estelle. So I enjoyed stitching her very much. And as you can see, more French knot practice, and I'm slowly but surely starting to get kind of good at them. Not perfect by any chance, but yeah. September dropped, and I think September is all the way down here in the bottom right, so that would make it this corner here, this little box here, and it is Red the Fox. But again, I don't plan to stitch him this month. I will have to play catch up next month. This is stitched on a piece of Quaker cloth by Rolanda, hand-dyed fabrics by Rolanda. She sells her stuff on Etsy, and she's from Canada. This Quaker cloth was one of a kind. It is very, very light blue with a tiny bit of gray. And it is a 28 count. The floss is all the called for. I don't think I have. No, I have not switched anything out. I just and you can't see them because I haven't opened the frame up completely. But there are 2 river mouth on this piece, and I have blended 2 colors together because my background is light blue and the water was very light, so I basically blended the slightly darker blue with the actual called for blue. But this is literally the only change I have made, except for some backstitch parts where I chose a darker color than was called for because you just couldn't see the backstitch. But my changes are extremely minor on this piece, so yeah. One last close-up of Estelle. So, and now to the reason why I am behind on all my stitch-alongs. What is she doing, you wonder? Maybe at the beginning of September I managed to do 1 video, and I actually plan to do these more or less regularly 2 or 3 times a week, but then again, I'm mostly incoherent these days because of drugs, so the prescribed type, not the illegal kind. I have joined in on the marathon for MMIW, and there's more now, G2S, Cross Stitchers for a Cause, where we have pledged to stitch 100 hours either on a certain piece or for example, Jessie Mislaid Paged, she has combined Season of Smalls with it, and she has pledged to stitch a certain amount of smalls in the time frame given, the time frame being from September 1st to October 31st. And we are doing this to, basically raise money for a good cause, which would be the Coalition to Stop Violence Against Native Women. And the piece I chose to stitch on is Night Walk Down by the Blue Flower. And as you can see, either if you watched this first video I put out, or if you remember this piece from the last time it showed up on a regular Flosstube, which would have been May of 2020, or probably August, because I planned to stitch on this in August and then I don't think I did much of anything. I think I only did this corner down here. Shame on me. All I had done was this side border, this corner, and the first few stitches of the bottom border. So I am about 40 hours in, I believe. I have finished the border, I have finished the words, I have, the last thing I have done is finished the little cat. And then of course I have added in a lot of these stars. It's not all of them, but most of them. And I have filled in the top corners as far as the flowers go. So I've put in a lot of hours into this, and I plan to put in many, many more. And I'm pretty much basically exclusively stitching on this at the moment. I had originally planned to switch back and forth to keep up with my stitch-alongs as well, but with a 40 count I always have the issue that it takes me quite a bit to get used to the fabric count, because usually most of the time I stitch on 28 count. So once I got finally used to this, my stitching went very smoothly and I had a lot of fun and didn't want to stop stitching on it, and B, the thought of switching back and forth and losing time that way didn't appeal to me. So I changed my plan. I'm going to put all my stitch alongs on hold until this is finished. And I think the last 5 days I have not stitched on this. So I really need to get back to it, but I think that I could get this done if I keep up the pace I had before I took this 5-day hiatus. I think I could get this done maybe by the 10th of October. I think that would be very possible. And once that is done, I'm not sure if I will hit the 100 hours by then. I don't think so. I will get back to my stitch alongs and catch up on them. So basically my hope is that by the end of October, this thing is done. I have way surpassed my 100 hours, and I've also caught up on all my stitch alongs again. So let's get into the good part, the fundraising part. So I myself have pledged to give $1 per hour I stitch on this. I have made my first $25 donation after I finished the first 25 hours, and I'm going to go in $25 steps as well. But you don't need to do that. You can, if you feel like it. I mean, you are not obligated to do anything, you know that. But if you feel like it and you want to chip in and give something for the cause we have chosen. Did I even say? This thing was actually started by Two Martini Stitcher, Resist Stitch, and Michelle Bendy Stitchy. Just FYI, should have probably said that in the beginning. So if you want to support the cause that these three have chosen to support this year with this, my donation page is linked down below. You can donate whatever you want. You can wait until the end if you want to pledge an hourly amount like I am doing and you want to do it all at the end. You can wait until the end. If you have, I don't know, $5 lying around and you feel like giving them, you can do that now, whatever you want. If you are a diamond painter, I have also decided to give all my affiliate money I make in the month of September to this cause. So if you are planning to purchase a diamond shop painting this month, please consider using my code stonecoldcoffeecrafts during checkout. As you know, usually I get a kickback from that, and I fully understand if you normally would not support that, but this month, like I said, everything I make through this affiliate link will go to the cause, and I will not count it in my own donation, of course. So it will be on top of whatever amount of hours I do and donate myself. So very much appreciated if you do. And all you need to do is use the code. Like I said, it's also in the description box down below, and it will be counted towards my affiliate account. Yeah, so that is that. My throat is starting to hurt. I'm not used to talking that much any longer. Stats on this. This is stitched on a 40 count. I think this is now brown paper. Yeah, I think so. Right? The other one was brown sand. No, this is brown sand. I'm sorry. I am so horrible. I should write this all down. Just have a little checklist right next to me. I never do. This is stitched on brown paper, 40 count, also xJuDesign. I have kitted it up with all the called for floss except for one color, which was a limited edition, and it was supposed to go in this border part here. You can see that the dark blue switches to this more like teal blue. This is where this color was supposed to go, and also the lady is going to be stitched behind the cat hair. Here, her skirt is also all this one color, but it was a limited edition gentle art color and no longer available when I kitted this up. So I switched that one out for gentle art brethren blue. But also after I finished this part here, I really did not like how the original charted colors looked like with each other. You can see it a little bit over here. I've left this flower in because this contrast actually wasn't too bad. But quite a few of these colors, no matter what their name, they are just very brown. And they don't really contrast with each other. And what happened here was that all just looked like a very basic, boring, brown, beige blob. I have pictures. If I remember, I will put them in. So what I did was I frogged all these little bell flowers. I frogged what you can see now is the lighter blue part on this flower, and I frogged the now reddish inside of this flower, and I replaced a few colors. So the red one is actually called for. This is Cherry Bark, also Gentle Art. The blue is Deep Sea by Weeks Dye Works. That was another alternative I had for this called for blue that was a limited edition, and it is a tiny bit lighter than the Brethren blue, and I decided to go forward with this one here. I like it just a bit better. And then for the bell flowers, I used the color Mulberry, which is the darker one by Weeks Dye Works, and the insides here, I think it is Lavender, if I'm not completely mistaken, also Weeks Dye Works. So that's the lighter color. That's what I've switched out, and now I'm going to freestyle it. So there are quite a few flowers that I'm going to stitch differently than charted, and I might pull in a few more colors. I am going to keep it muted because this is supposed to be a night scene, so no bright colors, no way. But I did not like this brown and brown. I'm sorry, this was just so boring. Usually I call Janine McGowan a genius, the blue flower, the designer. But I'm blaming the dye lots, honestly, because her cover paper or her cover page for this pattern did not look like my colors. Good example is the corner here. This is one of the colors I have frogged in this part here, which is called Amethyst. And as you can see, Amethyst is very brown except for these darker parts here. I don't think that they read very purple on screen. They are a brownish muted purple. I would never call a color like this Amethyst, to be honest. And that together with another color which was called Old Purple Paint, complete fail. It was two browns with just a smidge of purple. One is a bit blue, that's that one, and the other one is more of a reddish purple, but the base color is so similar that you can't distinguish when you stitch these two together. And that was what happened, for example, in the bell flowers. That's what these flowers called for, these two colors. So yeah, going forward, the flowers are going to be different from what is charted. But I think I'm going to stick with the charted colors for her. The only thing I have decided is I am going to switch out, I think it was the Old Purple Paint. Yeah, Old Purple Paint. I'm going to switch that out for the DMC equivalent, which I think was 3860, if I remember correctly, because I have that one. And at least that color will be consistently one purple tinted light beigey brown thing. It's, yeah. But at least it will be consistent. And won't fight with the colors around it, because some of that is in her skirt. Yeah, so there's that. This is going to be a long Flosstube. But we are done with the stitching. All that's left is haul. And haul is going to be super short today because usually I keep all the stuff I buy between Flosstubes in a pile. So I have this still available for the next time I film, because I forget what I bought and what I've already showed. But I think I already put all the stuff away because the in-laws were here to visit after my birthday. I don't have a pile anywhere, so I for sure must have put it away. So basically the only thing I can show you is a fabric order I made last week from a dyer that actually you guys recommended to me on Etsy. He's from Hungary, and he primarily dyes, he only dyes linen, and he primarily dyes 36 and 32 counts, though he has recently started with 40 count as well. And I have 2 pieces of 36 count that I ordered last week. His shop is called Nicholas Flamel Design. He's from Hungary, I think I said that. So this piece of fabric is called Book of Charms, and it is a purple gray. It shows a bit darker on screen than it actually is, and Miss Lola has now woken up. But I think you can see he has a fabulous dyeing style. Oh, that was close to a crash. And I just enjoy what he does with his fabric. He's also consistently dyeing fabric and updating his shop, so that is amazing. He has super fast shipping. I don't know how it is internationally, so overseas, but within Europe, I have my fabric within 3 days, which is extremely fast, and he doesn't charge for the shipping. His fabric is, because of that, his fabric is slightly more expensive if he does not run a sale in his shop, which he does all the time too, just most of the time, not when I want to buy something. And I have FOMO. But yeah. So this is the one piece of fabric I bought, and yes, Kitty, you look fantastic on it. May I show you the other one? You would look fantastic on that one too. Not entirely sure yet what I would like to stitch on this. I just bought it because it is purple and I enjoy purple. It's my favorite color. But I am pretty sure what I'm going to stitch on the next one, which is called Spirit of the Bog Forest. And this is a mixture, you can already see, of greens and dark gray. And what I am going to stitch on this piece of fabric is actually the Halloween Quaker by Lila Studio. This fabric does not look like murky, but I happen to be one of the people who does not understand why people love murky so much. It's probably because I haven't got a single piece of murky so far that is what it's supposed to be. Mine are usually extremely dark and don't look anything like the pictures. I don't know. But I thought this would also look fantastic. It comes across much, much darker than it actually is, as always, because that's just my life. If I put on this light, nah, maybe put the claws away. Maybe I can get some good pictures and add them in. But this is actually not as harsh as it looks on the screen. It's a very soft color change, and I think it would look fantastic with a Halloween Quaker. So that's my plan for this piece of fabric. It's going to go with this pattern now in my stash, so I don't forget that I have planned to use this fabric, because I have no idea when I will stitch the Halloween Quaker, to be honest. That's all the haul I have to show you, because I can't remember what I bought in the last 9 weeks, 10 weeks. I've been bad. I didn't buy too much, I know that. Yeah, so Flosstube, here it is. I am now going to do some minimal editing and hopefully throw this video up on my channel and have it live later today. Alright everyone, thank you for joining me. I am going to use every single clear day I have to try and get some content done and up, but no promises. I have learned my lesson. If the pills are on a roll, they are on a roll, and you're going to sleep the whole damn day. So that's now how it is. Okay, I hope you still enjoyed this. I hope the late appearance of Miss Furry Assistant here. Yeah, you are... Actually, can we? Oh, you are purring. You're purring. Hi. She's not undecided if she likes this or not. Why are you forcing me, human, to accept love? Hey, come here. Come here. Purry little monster. I hope you don't mind that she only showed up in the last few minutes. And yeah, have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful week. Have some purring. And I am going to try to be back as soon as possible. Bye, everyone.